Hey, what's going on? It's Chris Carrino. This is the voice of the Nets. We are into September, less than a month away from training camp. Edmond Sumner's basketball life has reminds you of a famous Greek. Unfortunately, not Giannis Antetokounmpo. More like Sisyphus. You know, he was the guy in Greek mythology that had to push the rock up the hill, and every time he would get it to the top, thinking he's going to get it over, it would tumble back down. And he was sentenced to do this over and over again. Edmond Sumner, in his basketball journey, has always been pushing that basketball up to the top of the hill, always thinking that he was going to have that career year that was going to get him over the top, only to have some kind of a setback, and that ball would come falling down the hill, and he'd have to pick it back up and get up that hill again. Major injury in college, an ACL. A major injury in the pros, a torn Achilles tendon that cost him all of last season. That came right after he had a career year with the Indiana Pacers. He was starting. He shot 40% from three. He was getting a new coach in Rick Carlisle. He was in an open gym, and he tore his Achilles, and he was done for the year. Nets actually acquired him last year early in the season in a small move. They ended up releasing him as that was the plan, and it opened up a roster spot. But the Nets have seen enough in Edmond Sumner to bring him back this year, and they see a positive, they see an upside, they see a guy who maybe can contribute if is given the opportunity. I don't know how much Edmond Sumner is going to play. I don't know how much he's going to contribute on the court, but I do know this. After listening to this interview, you're going to come away with two things. Number one, you're going to realize he's a great guy to have in the locker room. And number two, you're going to be rooting for him. This is a guy that has shown resilience, perseverance, grit, and he has just got an infectious positivity about him. I really enjoyed talking to him. I hope you enjoy listening to it. Here on the Voice of the Nets podcast, here is one of the newest Nets who will be with them in training camp in less than a month. It's Edmond Sumner. Joined by one of the newest Nets, Edmond Sumner, who has had quite a summer. He joins us right now, and I know, Edmond, congratulations on your getting married this summer. That's a big life event.
Yeah, that definitely was big, man. But I love it so far. It's been great. It definitely was a step that I was ready to take.
What's your wife's name?
Her name's Audra.
Audra. And now, how did you guys meet?
She's from Cincinnati. So we had mutual friends back in Cincinnati when I was at Xavier. So I knew her back then. So
this is somebody you knew from college?
Yeah. So we was dating for a while, but we didn't start dating until after I left.
Okay. That happens a lot, in college. You meet people, and then later on down the road, you realize you were compatible. You want to spend your life together.
Yeah,
definitely. You learn compatibility on the honeymoon, and I saw on Instagram some incredible photos in Bora Bora. I mean, that must have been an amazing trip.
Yeah, that was by far my best trip I've ever taken so far. It was beautiful, which is crazy. I didn't know much about it prior. We wanted to stay in the little bungalows on the water. So honestly, we Googled it. Then Bora Bora came up, and I asked a few people about it, and they had great things to say. Obviously, the pictures were amazing. But I honestly thought the pictures were kind of, edited. No, it was actually no better than the pictures. No filter. Yeah. Some of the videos and stuff I have on my phone just seem so unreal. Like I was sending them back home to my family and some of my best friends. They're like, just looked like a movie. Like it was so perfect. Everything was perfect.
It looked like the water is so clear, and you see the fish and the wildlife in there.
You see everything, and it was amazing.
And you sleep. I mean, it's open, right? I mean, you're out. You're sleeping. It's an open environment, right? You're not in a closed room or anything like that.
Well, no,
right?
We're in a closed room. So the bungalow where we're sleeping, there's like a big clear window, a sliding door that sits right in front of us that we can walk right out to like the patio. We had like a little pool and you can walk down. And if you wanted to jump inside the water, so it was closed, but you're on on the water. I mean, it was nice. It was quiet, peaceful, relaxing.
Yeah. And now you're in Brooklyn, which
now I'm in Brooklyn.
Is not, I mean, we love Brooklyn. It's not Bora Bora. There is a little more activity going on. Have you started to figure out, where you want to be, where you and Audrey are going to live, that sort of thing right now?
Yeah, we got a spot. It's right in between the facility and Barclays. I just kind of want to be close right now. Not too far. We ventured off a little bit. The walking is definitely an adjustment for me being from the Midwest. I just hop in my car. A mile here might take me 20 minutes versus a mile back at home is only a few minutes. So that's probably been the biggest adjustment for me. But I mean, I love it here because we got more food options, a lot more than Indy had. So I feel like that's been good so far.
Well, Edmund, so let's go back a little bit on your journey. You're a Detroit guy. I was saying I had a note to talk to you about Detroit, but you're wearing your Tigers hat, so I was reminded of that. You tell me about the Detroit basketball scene. I mean, a lot of great players have come out of Detroit, and I know there's like a real brotherhood with players that come out of Detroit. When you think, or you want to explain the Detroit basketball scene to people, what do you think of?
Detroit, I feel like a lot of us are, overlooked. So we feel like we always play with a chip on our shoulder. So that brings our passion for the game. I feel like there's so many players in Detroit that's just so talented that, not a lot of people might even know. So like you say, within the city, all the basketball players know each other. We always share knowledge from the older guys who kind of experienced things, the things they did well, the things they didn't do well, and they had opportunity. So that type of love and competitiveness has always been in me. I mean, growing up, I just remember watching the PSL, the public school league, just seeing how competitive that was. I wanted to play in the PSL. I ended up going to the Country Day where Shane Battier went, Chris Webber. Just a lot of different stuff was going on at that time. A lot of schools were closing and stuff. Just didn't want to get put in a predicament like that. But, I mean, just growing up watching that hard-nosed basketball, you just know you got to bring it every day. So I feel like that brings me that edge now. Like I know I always got to bring it no matter what. And nothing is ever given to me, so.
Yeah. Hey, JaVale McGee too, right? Went to, I think, Country Day. I want to say
no, JaVale McGee didn't go to Country Day.
Oh, didn't?
No.
He's okay.
JaVale's from Flint, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know that Jalen Rose is another guy that's come out of Detroit that is very vocal and supportive of the. Do you have any kind of relationship with any of those guys?
I don't have a relationship with Jalen. Not personally, but I've been around him a few times growing up and stuff like that. He definitely be back in Detroit. He gives back a lot. He comes back and talks. So it's a lot of guys. I feel like a lot of guys from Michigan always comes back to give back regardless.
What was the when you were a kid growing up? Were you in a city environment? Were you in a rural environment? Like where was your
I grew up in Detroit.
Court you were playing in the city.
Yeah. So I grew up. We grew up on the southwest side up until I was about maybe 5 years old, and then we moved to the east side of Detroit on 7 Mile. So yeah, I was a Detroit kid. I grew up in Detroit. Most of my time was just playing outside in the backyard with the neighborhood kids, but my dad coached, so I always played up. Still the same build. I was always a smaller, skinny guy, so that chip was always on me. So playing up helped me. So me not worrying about guys trying to, bully or be tough or whatever, that just never fazed me because I always was playing against guys so much older than me.
Your dad was the coach?
Yeah. So my dad coached. He pretty much had coached me all the way up until like 7th, 8th grade. But the team we had, we were very good. We pretty much ran through Michigan, but we didn't have that national scene, we didn't have no sponsorships or, the funds to be traveling like that. So that's when I went and played with the family, which is a Nike team, played in the EYBL. It was just a time for me to kind of get more exposure and stuff like that, to play against different kids that's nationally ranked and kind of just see where you are.
What was the thing that led you to Xavier?
So Xavier started recruiting me from the beginning of my, the end of my 9th grade year. And at that time, I was only 5'9", 5'10", so I was a late bloomer. So they kind of came in early, saw me in a little aux gym. I know everybody always joke about the aux gyms, but literally came in, saw me in the aux gym, and they started recruiting me, offering me early. Then I started to grow, started to get known more nationally and stuff like that. So other schools started to come in, but I'm kind of more of a loyalty guy. So I felt like they really wanted me and they made me a priority versus some other schools kind of had their like number one, number two guy they really expressed that to me as well. And I just rather go somewhere where I want it versus trying to chase, oh, this school sounds bigger or this school is this and that. So it was more about the perfect fit and for Xavier, and it turned out to be the perfect fit for me.
And they were rewarded for seeing something they probably saw in you. They say, oh, this kid's going to grow, right? They probably saw a skinny kid going, you know what? He's probably going to grow a little bit. And it was rewarded. No,
definitely.
Your time at Xavier was challenging. I mean, you played well, but I know you had the injury your freshman year. And then you had the injury your last year there that maybe hurt your draft status. So was it when you look back on your college days, was it frustrating? Was it rewarding? Was it a little bit of both? I mean, how do you look back on your days there in college?
It was both. My freshman year, I was still having my growing pains, you know what I'm saying? That was the type of the neat thing. It wasn't really no like injury for real. And that's the kind of persona that kind of went with that when I meet redshirt. And so everyone think, I was injured. Okay. Like it was nothing serious. It was like my knee kind of was flaring up, and by the time we probably can get it under control, I done missed a lot of the time. So I was just going to waste a year. So that knock right there, that's something I hate when people bring, because it's like, I was having some knee trouble, but it wasn't anything serious. It was just something more so, red shirt, let's put some more weight on you. Let's get everything under control and stuff like that. So, but coming into that summer, I remember, once you miss a year, everyone kind of forgets about you, even like now. And if they forget anything you've done prior to this, or that whole summer, everyone was like, we don't know how good Xavier is going to be. They don't have a point guard and stuff like that. So that was just another fire that lit me up. So, I went hard that summer, going hard. I was competing with actually one of my close friends, Larry Austin, who was at Xavier at that time. And Coach Matt kind of basically told us he don't know who's going to be the starting point guard. He also moved another player who was a junior named Miles Davis. So we all three was competing for a spot, the starting spot. And that was a tough battle. Larry he's a guy that's going to come in and compete every day. If I thought I was going to take a day off, he was going to get me that day. So I knew I had to bring it every day, and it was a competitive battle. So me getting that starting spot, personally, I didn't know exactly how the year was going to go. I missed a year of basketball. I haven't got a chance to adjust to college yet, so I didn't really know how it was going to be. But once the first game kind of got to going and I found my rhythm, that year was amazing. That was the best year for me. Just playing with my teammates was just so fun and pure. Like, I averaged, I think, 10, 11 points. We had 4 other guys that averaged 10, 11 points. We were number 6 in the country. Like, we did so many things that no one expected. And it wasn't like, I'm out here averaging 15. Trayvon Blue averaged 15. That was our go-to scorer. But besides him, we really had 4 or 5 guys averaging about the same amount of points. But that was the one time you kind of learn how to play with other people that's just as good. You don't need to take so many shots. So that limit, that was just so much fun. We didn't have no egos, sharing ball. So that year was great. I had got a concussion against Villanova that year. Somebody fell on my head. But besides that, healthy year, no injuries, anything like that.
You got taken off on a stretcher, didn't you?
Yeah, I got knocked out that game. He's like literally landed on my head, which was crazy. I thought I was back within like that next week, honestly. I just recovered, no issues. I honestly always forget that happened until I only remember because it happened on my birthday. What a birthday. I know, wow. Crazy. Didn't even get to celebrate.
But what I like already about you, Edmund, is I can see that, and this is going to come into play when we talk about your Achilles injury last year and your rehab back and, your senior year in college when you get the knee injury. Like, I sense a positivity and a grit about you that you don't look back at these things as, these terrible things happened to me. You kind of look at them as, that was just something that happened and we move on. I mean, you think about, you got taken off the court on a stretcher and you're like, but it was fine. I came back next week.
Yeah,
Is that your personality? I could tell already.
I honestly just being more positive about the things, like you say. I feel like they all happen for a reason. You go like the next year, you're saying I know I'm leaving next year. I'm like, okay, I'm entering a draft, so having the year, feel like I'm really starting to catch my groove too. Big East started playing. I think I'm averaging like 18-8 in Big East, so I'm catching the groove. And then
you're having a great year.
I tear my ACL. That
and
one
it was very
kind of
public.
challenging.
It was at Madison Square Garden. It was on
MSG,
national TV.
Man.
Yeah,
I'm having a good game too. Like that one was hard. I was younger than at that time, so I kind of took that hard because one, I didn't know anything about the injury, and I remember going back to I actually thought I broke my foot because when it initially happened, I couldn't like really feel my foot. So I'm like, I look at the bench, I'm like, oh, I think I just broke my foot. And then kind of the sensation came back into my leg, and I think it started swelling up, and I realized that like, oh no, this was my knee. That kind of, I realized like, okay, I think I did something. But then I got to the back, and then, they do a little check to see if it's loose and stuff like that. And the doctor didn't think that it was the ACL. So that kind of made me relief. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I just tweaked something. We get on the plane, and I got off the plane. It was so swollen, I couldn't walk anymore. I just knew like, this is bigger than something else. They took me to a doctor in the morning, and they confirmed the ACL like that. It was hard because I thought my NBA dream was over. I didn't know how this was going to be. And I relied on my athleticism, especially in college. Like at that time, I hadn't really worked on my shot. I hadn't seen it change as much as it changed now. So it was like my athleticism was the reason why I was such an appealing at that size, at that position. So I'm like, is my dream gone? I know, okay, come back to school. Well, I know it's going to take me a year, so I'm going to miss a lot of a season. The college season isn't as long as the NBA season. So I got 10 or so games to kind of get in groove, show teams that I'm back, help. So that was just a lot of pressure with that. And I mean, just talking with people, I talked to my coach who actually went through it, and they knew the decision that I wanted to make. So I just decided, like, I felt like someone was going to take a chance. And I knew two-way contract had just came out at that time, which really wasn't a big commitment. I feel like it was something you can, low risk, more of a high reward. So I knew, okay, there's a chance someone was going to take me with one of those. So that was kind of the whole plan. My goal was, I'm like, okay, I know I'm probably going to have to sign like a 2 year because I'm hurt right now. It's going to take me probably this full season to recover. But by that second season, like, I'm going to show that I'm a full-time NBA player. But with that injury, that's why I say I take everything as a blessing in disguise. I feel like if I didn't have that injury, I wouldn't have won probably maybe over and put the emphasis or getting my jump shot better because I was relying on my athleticism. But that's scary. I'm like, well, maybe what if I don't have a 40-inch vertical no more? I got to rely on something else. I got to be able to still be relied on. So that kind of held me back. And it also helped me know how important the lower body is. Coming into college, I got a 40-inch vertical. I'm like, I need to worry about leg press. Like, I got what everyone wants. Like, that type of young-minded mindset that I had. So I feel like that injury early on, it got me out of that. So those years with the Pacers, I mean, that's something that we just emphasized and worked on and gradually working on my game, improving my game, not being satisfied. So just putting those two pieces together and me working hard, it was, and God blessed me. Oh, I got my 40-inch vertical back, but now my game is better. So now I'm a better overall player. I understand my body better and stuff like that. Obviously, you're going through the season. My first year as the Pacers, I feel like we had a pretty good core. We had a lot of vets. So my time was going to be spent down in the G, getting those reps, getting those minutes. So then up and down. Then the 2 years ago when the final opportunity came, I feel like I had enough years in the NBA. The opportunity was there. It was just time to show, like, this is your time to show. I actually had a team option coming up that year. So you got to show them something anyway. So I feel like I was ready. And when the opportunity came, I started to perform. I had a good year. And I'm positive about the Achilles, but that injury crushed me because I know I worked hard. I work hard every summer. I work an emphasis on my lower body. We do that every day. I had a great summer. I got a new coach. I come in to workouts. We starting to do open gym. I'm playing well. Like, I know the opportunity I have coming into this season. And then that happens a week before a training camp, and a a drive that I could just do in a workout. It was just a fast break, somebody throw it ahead, and I just do a one dribble, and I tear my Achilles. And I done heard all these other players describe what happens. Like, oh, I felt like someone kicked me, felt like someone tripped me. And I drive and I fall and I look behind me and there's no one behind me. And I instantly knew, oh man, I just tore my Achilles. And like that crushed me at that moment. Cause it's like, I done been through so much. I felt like I done made all the right adjustments. I'm working. I'm going hard. I was so ready for the season. My body was feeling amazing. Like, it has not felt any better. So it was nothing leading up to that. This is sore. This is like, I'm feeling great. So I just couldn't understand anything on why this just happened to me. And no one else could explain it to me besides it can happen. Like, if the right spot, the right moment, it can happen. So that first 24 hours, I would say I was crushed. Like, I couldn't put a reason on it. But I mean, I'm not a quitter. I don't know. It's just something, I don't give up. So once I kind of told myself, you know what, we're going to get past this and we're going to do everything possible to get back. So no matter what it is, if I can't get back to the 40, I'm just going to live with it. But I'm going to do everything possible to return the best version of Edmund I can. And so the first month, you can't really do much. So I remember my doctor recommended me doing hyperbaric oxygen. I did that 40 straight sessions. I don't know if that was going to help me or not, but I'm like, he said there's a chance this can help me. It's going to help my tendon get stronger and help me heal faster. I did it. That's just me literally laying in a machine for 90 minutes. I'm just laying there and they're, just pumping oxygen into me every day. But I honestly feel like that helped me out tremendously because I feel like January, February, I just started feeling so well. I remember my first dunk. Like, I was posting video. I really was posting videos.
Yeah,
for
if you go to your
myself
Instagram, you'll see you posting your first dunk and things like that.
Just to like kind of, see the progression and like stuff. But like, these were like first takes. So like, if I'm dunking, you see me come down, you see this huge smile. It's like, this is my first time doing it. Like, I'm not doing it before the camera. I just like, record this for me. I want to see. So it's like, this is like my pure emotion. So it was just seeing the whole process, man. It's been such a blessing. And I just been, me personally, I'm just like, what's me being negative? Oh, what if you can't come back? What if you can't do this? Like, what is that going to help me? Like, okay, it is a chance something can, okay, so what? So I just kind of carried that whole positive mindset and just attacking it every day. And it just made rehab so much better. I didn't have not one bad day. Like every day was just like a little better, a little better, a little better, big jump, a little better, a little better, a little better, big jump. So it just kind of kept me uplifted. I was able to be with my family more. I haven't had holidays since high school because in college, you miss everything as well. So it was just so much stuff that I just kind of took as a blessing this year that I knew I wouldn't be able to do. And so that mindset just kept a smile on my face. And no matter what, that 24 hours, I didn't smile. And you ask anyone else, like I smile all the time. That's just me. I'm joyful. I love to smile, love to be happy. So me not having that's not me. So I had to tell myself we're never going to get back to that. No matter what stuff happens. It's a lot of people going through a lot of way worse stuff than me tearing my Achilles. And that's what I look back on. You got people on the street. So it's just so much stuff. It's like, yeah, you're still blessed. Yes, this sucks. Yes, it's a big part of your life. It happened at a terrible time, but it could always be worse. So with that mindset, I was able to move forward and I wasn't about to hold nothing back. And that's the mindset I have now, the mindset I'm going to always carry because we're blessed. I'm playing the NBA, something I dreamed of my entire life. I got another opportunity to showcase my talents again and be on another team and bring that again to the floor. So it's nothing. Edmund, you can make excuses, but I don't make excuses.
And it goes back to what I said to you there in the beginning when your attitude about when those things happen to you in college, that's going to get you through. And I think that sometimes, I'm somebody that has gone through things in life. I have a type of muscular dystrophy and it's led to some injuries. And I almost feel like sometimes, you go through hard times and then it also helps you because you realize that you can, whatever is thrown at you, you can get through those things because you've been through them before. And I would imagine, you said your game was where in college you'd gone to where you had never been and then you get the ACL injury. Then in the pros, you're having your best year, You started that year. That was the 2021 season. You played 53 games. You started 23 games. You were shooting almost 40% from three. You go into a great situation in the offseason where Rick Carlisle becomes your head coach, right? And then you get the Achilles injury. So it's always like at the high moments. Was it like, I think it was Denzel Washington said that after the Will Smith thing in the Oscars, like at your highest moment, that's where the devil shows up. You always have to be, remain humble and know that, but you also know that you can get through those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a big part of being able to get through life is that saying, well, I know I've been through these things before. I'll get through them again.
Exactly.
What I want to just go back a little bit here before the Achilles injury. You tape your wrists and you write EBJ on your wrist. Can you tell our audience what that is?
Yeah, that's my brother. Like I said, I've been through a lot since I've been in the NBA.
Yeah.
My first year in the NBA, I'm still battling injury, and my brother passed in February, week after his birthday. This illness, man, that was tough. That was tougher than ACL. That was tougher than the Achilles. Tougher than a lot of stuff. That was probably another time where it's like, I probably had like a week. It was crazy. I'm young. I'm just in the NBA. That happens, and it's like a week after. And really, I'm like, man, I don't want them to feel like I'm not away from, like I'm not ready for the game. So I feel like I really came back too soon. I came back. I was down in the G League too at the time, so I went back maybe like a week after it happened, and I probably should have took another week because I was just not there mentally, and it was just weighing on me a lot. Just felt like a lot of pressure. So I take my wrist and wear that every game. It's still tough to this day, just because I don't know. It's just something we didn't came so much from where we grew up. I did not grow up in the world's worst situation, but it wasn't the best. I grew up in the hood. But we didn't stay in the worst neighborhood or nothing like that. My mom, I had things growing up, but it wasn't still the best. My parents still had to struggle and work their butts off to get us to what we needed to do. So for me to get to the NBA, and at that time I was on two-way, so he didn't even get to see me reach my goals to be a full-time NBA player. Then I signed another contract for 3 years. So that was just challenging. And even like the years go by, you just like, he was one of my biggest fans. He came to all my games. My family support, like, I love my family, but they support me, always supported me no matter what, from when I was a little kid till now. They traveled to college. They traveled to every home game. My dad would travel to some away games, but the Pacers, they driving down to all these home games, like, the consistent, like, that support, that has gotten me through all these levels, just knowing my family was there. And that was tough for our family. It's still tough now, but I feel like he's still with me. Like, so there's some of these battles, I feel like he's helped me get over these. And as a youngin', it was tough. And that's why I love the Pacers for that, man. They didn't pressure me to come back. They didn't do anything. Like, that was all my decision. I feel like Karen, she works at Pacers. She sends my mom flowers every year on his birthday. Like, she doesn't have to do that. She did it this year. Like, just little stuff like that. I feel like that it was just bigger than basketball, and I felt that. And that tourist, once the G League season ended, I literally felt like either my brother talked to me, he came into my dream, but I kind of got out of that, like, kind of slow, like, not motivated to get up and work out and stuff like that. The summer hit, and it's just like everything just took off. I feel like I got better. The summer league happened. I played summer league. I had a good summer league. And that propelled me. I had a good training camp that year. Then that was when I was still on 2A. So I got sit down in G League, and I killed it that year. Absolutely killed it. So I feel like he's always within me. He's helped me out. All right. I pretty much say the sixth man. I had it in my wedding jacket. I'll post a picture probably soon of that. That was something I wrote on him because I wanted him up there with me. I don't know if you've seen the movie Six Man. It's a basketball movie. If you haven't, you should. But I honestly believe that's my sixth man, and it's my big brother. Definitely miss him. It's hard. It's hard, man. But I know he wouldn't want us out here being sad, not doing what we're supposed to do. And he know what the opportunities I have to take care of our parents, to make our situation different, the blessings that I'm able to do. So that's why, I mean, I don't take anything for granted. Like you said, like the smile, all that, like, okay, I got some setbacks, but I'm going to do it again. Like, that doesn't faze me. I feel like I can overcome a lot of things, man. I lost my brother and I was able to overcome that. It's not much that I'm not going to be able to, it's not anything I'm not going to be able to overcome. I mean, that's just the way I think. That's the way I feel. That's not a talk. It's honestly, you ask anyone the way I carry myself from the last 4 years they've known me from the NBA or prior to that. And it's the same always.
Your brother was Ernest too. He was
yes,
Ernest
that's my
Jr.,
dad's
right?
name's Ernest too. Yeah.
I relate to in a way when you go through things like that. I think people will say, how do you get through it? And I always say, these things are hard enough, and you don't want to let it rob you of all the other things that you wanted out of your life. These things happen. It doesn't mean that having a positive attitude about it doesn't mean you ignore it. It doesn't mean you forgot about it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, but it's like you have no choice, because if you want something bad enough, it's already bad enough that you had to go through an injury or you had to go through loss and you had to work so hard to overcome that stuff. You don't want it to rob you of the things that you wanted out of your life. I mean, your brother would have never wanted you to be so sad that you couldn't achieve the things you wanted. Especially your injuries. People have, how do you get through it? Well, I don't know. I have no choice, right? I mean, if I want to achieve what I have to achieve, it's not a choice for me to just stop. And, that forces you to keep going. And do you have any other siblings?
Yeah.
Or is it just your brother?
My sister as well, my mom and dad. She has 2 kids, so I have a niece and nephew as well.
And I'm sure that, you playing gave everybody a sense of we still have to go on. We still have to fight through this stuff and move on. You were probably an example for them and something to focus on through that hard time.
Yeah. And that's how I kind of look at it as well. Like you don't want to say a distraction, but it gives you hope for something else. And I got years ahead of me. I got goals that I want to achieve. And even like I said, what you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I got goals, and like I said, the week that I returned, my family was at that game as well. So
you mentioned the Pacers,
changed.
Edmund. Like you mentioned how great they were throughout the time with your brother, and how keep sending your mom flowers. You tear your Achilles in an off-season workout, basically, at not an official practice or anything, and they end up trading you, ironically, to the Nets. But you were injured, so you get released by the Nets because they're in a situation where they needed the salary. They needed the roster spots. They were trying to sign guys, but so now you don't have a team in reality. But the Pacers allow you to come back and continue your rehab with them, and you talk about how that's the mark of a great organization right there. I'm sure the Nets would do that for players and have done that for players. But, you talk about being in the right place. You were drafted by New Orleans. They traded you to Indiana. And you mentioned how great your experiences were with the Pacers. I find like that was probably just you were in the right place. Yeah,
and the trade, I'd be trying to forget about that because that was tough for me too. That was my first time really experiencing. And like I said, I don't know if it was me just being a little naive and stuff like that, but like I did not expect that. It just wasn't. I'm so focused on the injury and stuff. So when I got the call off my agent, like, yeah, they might trade you, it was just like, I was just like confused. But I'm telling them like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But like, it kind of crushed me because I just didn't expect it. But obviously, I understood. Chad called me and talked to me about it, and I knew it wasn't something that they like just wanted. They just didn't like me. But I understood like they needed that roster spot, and they said they were going to try to do anything possible to help me get back. So it was tough. Like I said, probably 24 hours for me. It was, but after that, man, I understood the business. I knew it wasn't personal. Like you said, they did my rehab. The first day back, I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a week to see how things are here. Like, I didn't know, okay, if I was going to be treated a little differently. But the first day I come back, Everyone's treating me the same. Players still talking to me. Staff still talking to me. I'm working with the same people I was working with when I was in the organization, so it was nothing changed. So it was such an easy transition for me, and I respect them so much for that. And I don't have no hatred towards them because they literally changed my life. They took a chance on me, and I respect that more than anything. And I understand the business side of stuff, so you can't just take everything personal. Stuff happens. And for them to do my rehab just to make sure I'm getting back on track right, I mean, that was a blessing for me.
Yeah.
So I definitely love them for that and respect everyone in their organization for that.
I see another pattern with you that I think anybody listening should pick up on and take to heart. When these things happen to you, you say, I took 24 hours and it wasn't great. It was a tough 24 hours, but then you thought about it and you realized what it was and you had that patience. It's like these things will happen. It's okay to be upset, to be angry, to be fearful, to question, and then think it all through, get it all out, and then move on.
Yeah.
I feel like that's your philosophy.
Exactly. Not those 24 hours are not positive. That 24 hours from me turning my Achilles, I'm crying. I call my wife to pick me up. I get in the car, I'm crying. I just can't understand. I'm getting home like the whole time. I'm angry. I don't understand. I get a call. I'm getting traded. I don't even know how long. I came back from surgery. I don't even know if this is like a week or two.
Yeah.
And it's just so much going on. It's just like, how am I supposed to handle all this? How am I supposed to handle all this? But 24 hours is like, that's all I need is like, you kind of digest everything that's happening. For one, at that time, it's like, you're good, Ed. Like, you're still, no matter what, you was going to be a free agent this year. You wasn't playing this year. You're in the same situation. They're still going to allow you to do your rehab and stuff. So it's not like they just threw you out on your own. So once I kind of just grasped all that and not really to understand, I knew it wasn't personal because like everyone there would speak so highly of me no matter where I'm at. I could be away, closed room door, and I know they would speak highly of me. So I knew it wasn't personal. I knew it was, we don't like him. We don't think he was good enough. Like, I was coming off my best NBA year. Like, I'm showing promise. Like, I got better at everything they asked me to get better at. So it just was something I just knew I couldn't take personally. And like you said, once I told myself I was going to be back, okay, yeah, it's just another little rock, little bump. You'll be all right. Like, it's all right.
Speed bump in the road.
Yeah.
Now you end up back in Brooklyn. So the team that traded for you, released you, and now you're back. I mean, was that an expected thing? Were you excited to get the call and come to Brooklyn?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was definitely excited. For one, like you said, the whole process, I didn't know if any teams would be interested in me anymore coming off an injury like that. So I'm just, like I said, I'm doing everything possible to make sure I'm good. My agent obviously was like, you're probably going to have to go do some workouts with some teams, just kind of show them how you move and stuff like that. So I'm just getting prepared for that. Brooklyn was the first team on the list, set this workout schedule. We had other teams trying to get me in earlier, but I told my agent, like, they set it up first. That's the first team. That's the first place I'm going to. I'm not going nowhere else. That's just kind of always been my mindset. I know regardless of business, but that's how I am. So I told them.
Go back to that loyalty you talked about going to Xavier.
It's just like, well, they want to take another chance on me first, so I'm going to give them the first crack of seeing how I'm looking first. So, I mean, I was excited. I mean, I seen how Kevin came back from his injury, and he had to come back and be one of the best players in the world. So I'm like, they know what they're doing. They're going to get me back to the position that I need to get back. They're going to get me back explosive, keep me as protected as possible. So I mean, I was very excited about the workout. That first
and the guy that's yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I haven't worked out for anybody else prior to that. Like, so all I knew was the Pacers. Like, I didn't know about no any other organization. I never really worked out with another team or did anything as prior to that I was injured. So all I knew was the Pacers. So I was so excited about the workout.
And the thing in common with you and KD in terms of the Achilles is, I believe Martin O'Malley, the renowned surgeon from Hospital for Special Surgery, is one of the Nets team doctors. He was the guy who did that. So, maybe in a way they were Dr. O'Malley. He knew.
That was a reason why I went to him too, though. It was like,
sure.
Yeah, who did his surgery? I said that I need to go to that person.
Exactly.
He did it right. I need it done. Like, we want to do this right. We want to do it one way. no more. I don't want no hiccups or anything like that. So that's what we went with O'Malley.
Yeah, any kind of injury like that, he's the guy. He's the guy, and the Nets are fortunate to have him with him. And you'll be practicing in the HSS Center there in Brooklyn. Have you now having that injury in common with Kevin Durant? We know recently it came out that the drama has sort of been put aside now, and Kevin has decided, and the Nets have decided that they're all going to come together and give it a go this year, and we can get back to talking about basketball and who's going to be on this team. Did you have a relationship with Kevin at all? Had you been able to speak to him about the Achilles injury, or is that something you'll look forward to doing in the future?
Yeah, no, I haven't talked to him now about it, but I mean, once I get to see him and meet him, I'll definitely talk to him about it. But some other NBA guys had reached out to me, and it's kind of helped me get through some of the process. It's kind of give me some advice. But a lot of people, I didn't even know tore their Achilles we had a staff member who tore their Achilles, and some people that I even knew from back home had did it that was just reaching out. So I had a variety of people just kind of give me their wisdom, like, hey, like, you're going to be back from this. And I know how technology is, and I knew as long as I was putting my rehab first, I treated this rehab like I was in season. Nothing came before that. If it was no family emergency, we skeleton around it. I got rehab from 8 to 12. Nothing's coming before that. If I got to go do this, I'm doing rehab first, and everyone knew that. So I felt like if I did everything possible, I knew I was going to be back. I didn't know I would be feeling this good, but I knew I'll be back.
It's something, and it's modern medicine. I mean, you know, 20, 30 years ago, an Achilles injury was, career ending, and now it's guys get back on the floor. How do you compare the Achilles rehab to the ACL rehab?
Man, the ACL was so brutal from pain wise and the ups and downs. The Achilles was just, this has been a grind, because trying to build up your calf back up and that strength part, and I'm still, to this day, that's the emphasis right now, but it's been more of a smooth sailing. The ACL was so many ups and downs, and it was painful, like just simply painful. I have not been in pain. I was off the pain pills probably 2 days after I got a surgery. I didn't even really like how it was making me feel, and as long as I could tolerate it enough, feel like I'm tough enough to tolerate, I was okay. The ACL, I could not do that. I woke up one night screaming in pain because I tried not to take those pain pills. Like, it was such a different, and I was so nervous about this Achilles surgery and stuff. I just didn't know what to expect, and I was just nervous about it. I'm like, man, am I going to be so much pain? But even from the rehab, I was just so shocked on how easier it was. And I don't want to say easier, but pain-free and not so many bumps along the road.
Sure. Yeah. In your eyes, what's the type of player that Net fans are going to see from you?
For me, I'm a guy, I play hard every possession, every game. I feel like I bring the energy. I've expanded my game so much, like you say, my shot. That's something I put a big emphasis on. Like I said, I came from college where I played point guard. I'm ball dominant. So I got to the NBA, and practically the Pacers pretty much moved me to the 2. It was crowded point. I wanted to play, so it was like, whatever. I got the height. I could play the 2. But with the Pacers, I knew only way I'm about to get on this floor right now, they got everybody that can score, that can do this and that. You got to defend. So I put such an emphasis on the defensive end that I just gradually got better and made that judgment. So I feel like that's something that's going to always stay with me now, taking that defensive end so serious. Then gradually, as the years went on, like I said, I got better as a catch and shoot, got better, improved my free throw percentage. That's something I really, because I feel like I get to the line a lot. I wanted to shoot 90 this year. I got up to 82 my previous year. So I feel like me just kind of filling holes in my game, respecting my craft. I feel like this year I improved a lot even during that whole year off, adding more midi. So it's just a lot of stuff I'm trying to add to it. But I mean, I feel like I can do a lot of stuff. Play off the ball. So you want me to play multiple positions, guard multiple positions. I feel like I could do a jack of all trades, and I feel like that kind of makes me very versatile. I didn't want to be like, oh, I only can play with the ball. We got all these guys that can do this with the ball. Like, you have to be able to play off the ball. You have to be able to fill in. So how can I contribute? And I feel like that one last year, I watched Doug McDermott a lot because I was behind him, and I added cutting. Like, now I know how it sounds crazy, but like just literally learning how to play and learning when to cut, learning when I got so many easy points or created so many opportunities for my teams from just simple cuts and just learning how to play basketball. And that's just something just knowing how to be a pro, knowing how to play basketball. And at this level, it's literally just not about points. You can bring so much more value to a team just learning and knowing how to play basketball at both sides of the floor.
Yeah, and being a great shooter in this league and three-point shooter especially, sometimes those guys are the best cutters, the best guys moving without the ball, because that's how it starts. You get better shots that way. You get more opportunities, and the better shot you take, the more they go in.
Honestly, and like you get a couple little free layups that brings the confidence up as well. And the position I was in, like I wasn't getting 20 plays called from me. You're not getting the ball every possession, so it's, well, okay, how can you contribute? How can you do other stuff? So it's figuring out other ways to add value. I want to be on the floor. I got to add value. So me just figuring out how can I add value. And I feel like I do a real good job of adjusting. No matter what, I'm getting down on the G. I'm in this position. They play me at the 4 today. They play me at the 2. Oh, they want you to play the 1. I feel like I adjust pretty well, and I can be put in a lot of different positions and almost practically thrown in the fire, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out a way to adjust. I feel like I'm humble enough to understand certain stuff, and okay, just because you're in a certain position doesn't mean anything. It's still a way that I can contribute. So that's just my mindset with all that.
Humble enough to prepare and confident enough to succeed is something that a mantra I always love. A big part of this team is going to be, will it find chemistry? I'm encouraged talking to you and never met you before. I love the energy you bring. And like you said, the smile, the enthusiasm. I think that's something that's really valuable to a team, whether or not you're going to play a lot or not. I think that energy is infectious, and it's important to have that. I know you've spent time now, you got married and you went on your honeymoon. I don't know how much you've been able to do as far as bonding with some of your new teammates. I'm sure you're looking forward to that right now. Have you been able to connect with guys? Is there anybody on the team that you have a relationship with already?
Yeah, because I've been, prior to the honeymoon, they wanted me to get down here. I was down here for like 3 or 4 straight weeks doing rehab stuff. So Joe was down here, Patty. So we went out to lunch, stuff like that. He texts me and stuff all the time. Van's been down here. So we've been in the gym. We had workouts with these guys, got shots and stuff like that. So I've definitely been able to connect with some of the guys, and now the younger guys are back as well. All the guys, when I was seeing them in the locker room, just kind of like you said, just kind of connect with them and get to know one of each other. Like, the better chemistry, the better you play. Like I said, my best year for me, basketball-wise, was that redshirt freshman year in college, because we love playing with each other. And I feel like most teams that have success, you love playing with each other. And that's, when you love playing with somebody, that's easy to sacrifice. Oh, I'm going to give you that one more versus, no, I didn't shoot the ball 10 straight possessions. I'm shooting. Like, it's easier to play with one another when you really enjoy playing and you really like your teammates on and off the court. Because everybody like each other off the court. I've never ever had an issue like that. But if you can get that gel on the court, something special. We got all the talent in the world. Think we gel on the court, everybody knows that what's gonna happen. So I don't need to say much about that.
There's a few good players on this team. There's a few good players on this team, and I'll tell you what, can I be part of that dinner with you, Joe, and Patty? Because I can't think of 3 better guys to hang out with.
Man, like I said, Joe, like I said, great dudes. Like, they literally has made it easy. Joe, anything I've had questions about, if it's for me finding, because I don't know the location, like I ask, what about this location? Oh, this is a good area. Oh, this not a good, like, great dudes. Talk, we just have regular conversations, not always just basketball. Like, he literally sat and listened to my story how you're listening to my story. And he like, wow, man, I can't believe you just went all that and you're still overcoming. Like, they're just great people.
Well,
man.
Joe went through that. Joe, number one, Joe could tell you what subway to take to the stage because he's been known to just jump on the subway.
That as well.
Yeah. But Joe, remember Joe, same kind of thing. He was at Cleveland. He was a second-round pick. He had a great college career, but then he ends up getting hurt and traded and cut. That happened with, he got traded from Cleveland. He was hurt. He went to Orlando. They released him, and he didn't even have the benefit of going back to the Cavaliers and being able to rehab and work out. And Nets kind of found him, working out on his own. So he has a lot in common with you.
Yeah, man, he found a couple hidden gems. I think he turned out pretty good.
Yeah, you got to do it. The stars will carry you, but then you need the other guys to find out. Well, Edmund, I one thing before we go, because I know I've kept you a long time, and I really appreciate it, and I love talking to you, really. Your name, Edmund, very literary, very 1900s novelist or something. Is there anything behind Edmund? I had to ask because I don't know any other Edmonds in the NBA.
No, there's nothing behind Edmund. Moms didn't tell me anything behind that.
Okay.
I really don't even know how that came about. I'm gonna have to maybe re-ask again.
I
love my name though, but no,
it's unique, and it's like I said, it's very regal and literary and old fashioned. I loved it, and I have to ask because I might have gotten a really great story out of it, or it was nothing. And so
I can give you a high school story though, one of my history classes.
Okay.
Where he's talking about the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And I literally only remembered it because it's spelled with a U, mine's spelled with an O, but I only remembered at that time in history because of my name. That's probably the only little story I got within the name. Edmund, that was easy.
There you go. It's nice. It's nice to have something unique about yourself. Well, Edmund, I really appreciate you joining us. This was great getting to know you. I know Net fans are going to really enjoy this conversation. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, that's Edmond Sumner. We're less than a month away from training camp. Be back with you in a couple of weeks. Thanks to my producer, Tom Dowd. Thanks to our engineer, Isaac Lee. And thanks, of course, to Edmond Sumner, one of the great Edmonds in NBA history. And Sumner also, by the way, the real last name of Sting, Gordon Sumner, had an album called 10 Sumner's Tales, which was a take on his last name, but also a take on the summoner in the Canterbury Tales. That's just an aside. And you probably shut this off by now. All right, thanks for listening. The Voice of the Nets podcast. I'm Chris Carrino. Yes, that's the kind of stuff that I think about. Talk to you again.